Ambassador Claire Holland stood in the Grand Council chamber, her hands clasped behind her back. The room stretched high above her with seats arranged in circles that rose like stairs. Each seat held an alien being, and most of them looked down at her with expressions she had learned to read over the years. Some showed boredom, others showed mild disgust. A few showed nothing at all. She had been standing here for 3 hours now, listening to the Galactic Council debate humanity's request for one more colony world. It was a small planet, barely worth mentioning by galactic standards, but the Council treated every human request like a major crisis. The Crithian ambassador, a tall creature with blue scales and 4 arms, rose from his seat. His voice boomed across the chamber when he spoke. "The humans ask for too much," he said. "They arrived in our galaxy only 50 years ago. Already they control 3 systems. Now they want a 4th? I say no. Let them prove they can manage what they have before we give them more." Several council members made sounds of agreement. Claire kept her face calm, though inside she felt the familiar anger rising. 50 years of this. 50 years of being treated like children who needed permission for everything. The Velex representative spoke next. She was smaller than the Crithian, with gray skin and large black eyes. Her voice was soft but carried through the chamber. "I agree with my colleague," she said. "The humans have shown themselves to be aggressive. Their history is filled with wars. We cannot trust them with more territory. Perhaps we should consider reducing their current holdings instead." Now several council members made louder sounds of agreement. Claire noticed the small cameras hidden around the chamber. Back on Earth, in a secure room deep underground, people were watching this, recording it, analyzing every word and gesture. Good. The council leader, an ancient being called a Tharx, raised one of his 6 hands. The chamber fell silent. "Ambassador Holland," he said, his voice dry and tired. "Do you have anything to say before we vote?" Claire stepped forward. She had practiced this speech many times. "Honored council members," she began. "Humanity understands your concerns. We are new to the galactic community. We have much to learn. We ask only for the chance to grow, to prove ourselves worthy of your trust. We accept whatever limits you set. We seek only peace and cooperation." It was the same speech she always gave, with small changes. Always humble, always accepting, always weak. The council members nodded, satisfied. They voted quickly. The request was denied. Humanity would not get another colony world. In fact, new restrictions were placed on human military ships. They could not travel beyond their assigned sectors without council permission. Claire bowed low and thanked the council for their wisdom. She left the chamber with slow, defeated steps. Perfect. 3 hours later, Claire sat in a small room in the human embassy. The walls were covered with technology that blocked listening devices. Across from her, a hologram showed the face of Admiral Marcus Blake. He was a man in his late 50s with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "They bought it?" Blake asked. "Completely," Claire said, allowing herself a small smile. "The Crithians and Velex are feeling very confident now. They think they can push us around. Good. Let them think that." Blake leaned forward. "How long before they make their move?" "Intelligence says 2 weeks. Maybe 3. They are forming an alliance. Once it is official, they will demand we give up our newest colony, New Terra." Blake nodded slowly. New Terra was home to 6 million humans. It had farms, cities, schools, and families. The Crithians wanted it because it sat near an important trade route. They thought humanity would just hand it over. "Have you told them?" Claire asked. "Not yet. The president wants to be sure. This is the moment we have been preparing for since first contact. Once we reveal what we have been building, there is no going back." 50 years, Claire said softly. 50 years of pretending to be weak, of accepting insults and restrictions, of letting them think we are nothing. I hope it was worth it. "It will be," Blake said. "Trust me." Far from the council chambers, deep in space beyond the edge of human territory, Captain Ryan Torres stood on the bridge of his ship. The Nightfall was not like the military vessels the Galactic Council knew about. Those ships were small, simple, and weak by galactic standards. The Nightfall was something else entirely. Torres was 35 years old, tall and lean with dark hair and darker eyes. He had grown up on a colony world and knew what it meant to feel vulnerable. He had joined the military to protect his people. For 10 years he had served on regular patrol ships, following all the rules the council had set. Then he had been recruited for something special. "Status report," he said to his crew. Lieutenant Commander Alex Chen sat at the tactical station. Alex was younger than Torres, only 28, but brilliant at systems analysis. Alex had been top of their class at the academy before being recruited for the secret program. "All systems are green, Captain. The quantum stealth field is operating at full power. As far as the galaxy knows, we do not exist." Torres allowed himself a small smile. The nightfall was invisible, not just hard to see or detect, but actually removed from normal space-time. Alien sensors could not find them. Alien weapons could not hit them. They were ghosts, and the nightfall was just one ship. Torres knew there were 49 others like it, all hidden, all waiting. The galaxy thought humanity had maybe 100 military vessels total, all weak and outdated. The truth was very different. "Orders from command," Alex said, reading a message that had just arrived. "We are to move into position near New Terra. Hostiles expected within 14 days. "Finally," Torres said. "Set course. Silent running. Time to show them what we can do." On Earth, in a facility that did not officially exist, Dr. Lisa Morrison walked through corridors that stretched for miles underground. She was 42 years old, with red hair starting to show streaks of gray. She had spent the last 15 years working on projects that would have seemed like magic to most people. Projects that broke the normal rules of physics. She entered a large chamber where technicians worked on massive machines. These were not the weapons that would be used first. These were the backup plans. The weapons humanity hoped they would never need to use. Her assistant, a young man named Peter, approached with a data pad. He looked excited and nervous at the same time. "Dr. Morrison, the test results are back. The displacement cannon works exactly as predicted. We can phase matter through energy shields. No defense in the known galaxy can stop it." Lisa took the data pad and studied the numbers. Perfect results. She should have been happy. Instead, she felt a cold weight in her stomach. She had created something terrible, something that could kill on a scale that frightened her. "Good work," she said quietly. "Make sure all the stealth ships are equipped before the deadline." "Yes, Doctor." Peter hesitated. "May I ask a question?" "Go ahead. Do you think we will really have to use these weapons? I mean, maybe if we just show them what we have, they will back down?" Lisa looked at the young man. He still had hope that this could end peacefully. She had lost that hope years ago. She had seen the intelligence reports. She knew how the other species viewed humanity. They saw humans as weak, primitive, and easy to control. They would not believe humanity had advanced weapons until they saw them in action. "I hope you are right," she said, "but prepare for the worst." Back in his office, Admiral Blake sat alone looking at star charts. Red markers showed human territory. Blue markers showed the Crithian Dominion. Green markers showed the Velex Confederacy. If those two powers joined together, they would have 10 times the military strength humanity claimed to possess. But Blake looked at different charts too. Secret charts that showed the true extent of human military power, ships that did not appear on any official records, weapons that no one outside a small circle knew existed, defense networks that could protect entire star systems. 50 years ago, when humanity had first met the Galactic Council, human leaders had faced a choice. They could try to compete openly, building up military strength the Council would see and fear. Or they could appear weak while secretly building an arsenal that would shock the galaxy when it was finally revealed. They had chosen the second path. It had not been easy. It meant accepting insults and restrictions. It meant watching the Council treat humanity like children. It meant lying every single day for 5 decades. But it had worked. The galaxy thought it knew what humanity was capable of. The galaxy was wrong. Blake's communication device beeped. He answered it and saw the face of the President of Earth. "Admiral," the President said, "intelligence confirms it. The Crithians and Velex have signed their alliance. They will issue their ultimatum to us within 48 hours. And our response?" Blake asked. The President was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Show them everything. It is time the galaxy learned the truth about humanity." Blake nodded. He had been waiting for this moment for years. Part of him was relieved. Another part was concerned about what would come next. Once the truth was out, the galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. "I will give the orders," Blake said. "The stealth fleet will be in position within 12 hours. When the ultimatum comes, we will be ready. Good luck, Admiral." "Thank you, sir." Captain Ryan Torres watched the tactical display with calm eyes. 300 alien warships had just appeared near New Terra. They came out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation, clearly expecting an easy victory. The Crithian and Valex fleets moved together like they had practiced this many times. "They look confident," Alex Chen said from the tactical station. "They should be," Torres replied. "According to their intelligence, we have maybe 15 patrol ships in this system. Old ones. They think they outnumber us 20-1. Should we tell them they are wrong?" Torres smiled. The Nightfall hung in space completely invisible, along with 49 other stealth warships. They surrounded the enemy fleet on all sides. The aliens had no idea they were already caught in a trap. Not yet. Let them make their speech first. On the bridge of the Crithian flagship, Admiral Zek stood tall and proud. His forearms gestured as he spoke to his crew. Today would be remembered as the day the Crithian Dominion put the weak humans in their place. He opened a communication channel to New Terra. "Humans of New Terra," his voice boomed. "I am Admiral Zek of the Crithian Dominion. By order of the Galactic Council, you are hereby commanded to evacuate this world within 24 hours. This planet now belongs to the Crithian people. Your ships will be escorted to the nearest human system. Resistance is not advised. We have 300 warships. You have nothing that can stop us." Torres listened to the speech and shook his head. The arrogance was amazing. These aliens really thought humanity would just give up a world with 6 million people because they showed up with some warships. "Sir, we are receiving a response from Admiral Blake," Alex said. Torres activated his own communication device. Blake's face appeared calm and serious. "Captain Torres, you are authorized to reveal the stealth fleet. Show them what we have been hiding. But keep casualties minimal. We want to shock them, not start a total war." "Understood, sir. Minimal casualties." Torres turned to his crew. "All hands, battle stations. Prepare to decloak on my mark." Around the enemy fleet, 50 human warships prepared to drop their stealth fields. These were not the small patrol boats the galaxy knew about. These were true warships, each one equipped with weapons the Galactic Council had never imagined. Torres counted down in his head. 3, 2, 1. Mark. 50 ships appeared from nowhere. One moment the space around the Crithian fleet was empty. The next moment human warships surrounded them on all sides. The alien sensors went crazy, trying to understand what had just happened. On the Crithian flagship, chaos erupted. Officers shouted reports, alarms blared, and Admiral Zek stared at his tactical display in disbelief. Where had these ships come from? How had they gotten so close without being detected? "Shields up! Prepare weapons!" he ordered. His 300 ships began charging their energy weapons and raising their defensive shields. These were standard galactic military systems proven over thousands of years. Surely the primitive humans could not have anything that would penetrate them. Torres opened a communication channel to the entire enemy fleet. His voice was calm and clear. "Admiral Zek, this is Captain Ryan Torres of the Earth Defense Fleet. You are surrounded by 50 warships equipped with weapons you cannot defend against. Power down your systems and surrender. This is your only warning," Zek laughed. 50 ships against 300, and they dared to demand his surrender? The humans were either insane or bluffing. "Human, you are outnumbered 6-1. Surrender yourselves or we will destroy you." Torres sighed. He had tried. He turned to Alex. "Target their 3 largest capital ships. Displacement cannons, low power. Disable their weapons and engines only. Let us show them." Targeting solution locked. Firing. 3 human ships fired. The weapons they used did not look like energy beams or missiles. Instead, space itself seemed to ripple. The displacement cannons worked by phasing matter through different dimensions. Energy shields, which protected against normal weapons by deflecting or absorbing energy, were useless against them. On the 3 Crithian capital ships, weapon systems simply stopped working. Engines went offline. Life support remained active, but the ships were now helpless. It happened in seconds. No explosions. No visible damage. The ships just became disabled. Admiral Zek stared at his console. His shields had been at full power. They had not stopped the human weapons at all. Reports flooded in from the disabled ships. Their systems showed no signs of energy weapon impacts. It was like the human weapons had just reached inside the ships and turned everything off. "What kind of weapons are those?" he whispered. Torres spoke again. "Admiral Zek, we can disable every ship in your fleet just as easily." Or we can let you leave. The choice is yours. But you will not take New Terra, not today. Not ever. Zek felt something he had not experienced in decades. Fear. He looked at his tactical display again. The human ships had not just appeared from nowhere. They had been there all along, invisible. That meant human stealth technology was far beyond anything the galaxy possessed. And their weapons could bypass shields. What else were they hiding? He reached for the control to order his fleet to open fire. Then he hesitated. If the humans could disable 3 ships in seconds, they could disable all 300. His fleet would be helpless. And once they were helpless, the humans could destroy them all. His hand moved to a different control. The retreat order. Wait, Torres said. Before you go, there is one more thing you should know. Your faster-than-light drives will not work right now. We are projecting an inhibitor field across this entire system. You cannot run away. Zek tried the faster-than-light drive anyway. Nothing happened. The systems were trying to activate but could not. Some kind of field was preventing it. The humans had trapped his entire fleet here. What do you want? Zek asked, his voice much quieter now. I want you to listen carefully, Torres said. You are going to send a message to your leaders and to the Galactic Council. Tell them what happened here. Tell them Earth has been hiding its true military strength for 50 years. Tell them we have weapons and technology they cannot match. And tell them that if anyone threatens human territory again, the response will be much worse than what you experienced today. They will not believe me. Then show them this. Torres gave a signal. The human fleet lit up with targeting systems. Every single enemy ship was locked. Red warning lights appeared on 300 alien bridges at the same time. The message was clear. Earth could destroy them all right now if it wanted to. Then the targeting locks disappeared. The inhibitor field dropped. The Crithian faster-than-light drives came back online. You are free to leave, Torres said. But remember this moment. Remember that Earth showed mercy today. We could have destroyed you. We chose not to. Next time we might choose differently. Zek did not need to be told twice. He ordered the retreat. 300 warships jumped to faster-than-light speed and fled the system. The 3 disabled capital ships were towed away by their sister vessels. Within minutes, the entire enemy fleet was gone. Torres leaned back in his chair. His hands were shaking slightly from the adrenaline, but he kept his voice steady. All ships returned to stealth mode. Maintain defensive positions around New Terra until further orders. The 50 human warships vanished again, becoming invisible. From New Terra below, 6 million people cheered. They had been preparing to evacuate their homes. Now they knew they were safe. Earth had protected them. In the council chambers, Ambassador Claire Holland watched the emergency session unfold. News of what happened at New Terra had reached the Galactic Council within an hour. Now alien delegates stood and shouted at each other, demanding explanations. Some accused humanity of violating treaties. Others demanded investigations. The council leader finally called for silence. He turned to Claire with an expression that mixed anger and fear. Ambassador Holland, explain yourself. Where did these warships come from? What other weapons do you possess? How long have you been lying to this council? Claire stood slowly. She had been playing the role of the humble, weak human for 50 years. It felt strange to drop the act. But also good, honored council members, she began. Humanity has not lied to you. You asked us about our military capabilities, and we told you about our patrol fleets. You did not ask about our defense fleets. You did not ask about our stealth technology. You did not ask about our advanced weapons. You assumed we were weak, and we let you believe it. The chamber erupted with angry voices. Claire waited for them to quiet down before continuing. For 50 years, the Galactic Council has restricted human expansion. You have limited our territory, controlled our trade, and treated us like children who need supervision. You did this because you saw us as weak and primitive. Today you learned the truth. We are not weak. We have never been weak. We simply chose to appear that way while we observed you and learned from you. The Crethian ambassador stood, his scales flushed with anger. This is an outrage. You deceived us. You built weapons in secret. Claire looked at him calmly. Did we? Or did you simply fail to see what was in front of you? Humanity has been in space for over a century. Did you really think we spent all that time building nothing? Or did you just want to believe we were harmless? No one had an answer to that. The truth was uncomfortable. The council had wanted humanity to be weak. It made them easier to control. Dr. Lisa Morrison stood in the elevator as it descended deep underground. The facility was called Project Twilight, and it existed in a place no map showed. The elevator took 5 full minutes to reach the bottom level. 5 minutes of going down through solid rock, past layer after layer of security systems. When the doors opened, she stepped into a chamber so vast she could barely see the far walls. Machines filled the space, each one larger than a building. Technicians moved between them like tiny insects. These machines represented the next level of human technology, the weapons that made the stealth fleet look simple by comparison. Admiral Blake was waiting for her near one of the massive devices. He looked tired. The revelation of the stealth fleet had shaken the galaxy, but it had also created new problems. Intelligence reports showed several alien powers were now working together, trying to develop countermeasures to human technology. "Doctor," Blake said, "thank you for coming. I need to understand what these systems can do. The President is asking questions I cannot answer." Lisa nodded. She walked to the nearest machine and placed her hand on its cool metal surface. "What do you want to know?" "Everything." "Start with this one." Lisa took a deep breath. "This is a temporal stasis generator. It creates a field that stops time within a defined area. Anything caught in the field becomes frozen. Not slowed down, actually frozen in time. A ship caught in this field would stay exactly as it was for as long as we maintained power. Minutes, hours, days. When we turn it off, the ship would continue from that exact moment as if no time had passed at all." Blake stared at the machine. "You can stop time. In a limited area, yes. The field can cover roughly the size of a capital ship. We have tested it successfully." Lisa moved to the next machine. "This one is a gravity well generator. It creates artificial gravity so intense it can crush metal like paper. A ship caught in a full-power field would compress down to the size of a car in seconds." Blake felt cold, despite the warm air in the chamber. "And that one?" He pointed to a third device. "Nanoswarm deployment system. We release billions of microscopic machines that can disassemble matter at the molecular level. They spread through enemy ships and take them apart from the inside. It is not fast, but it is completely unstoppable once deployed. Energy shields mean nothing to machines smaller than atoms." "How many of these systems do we have operational?" Blake asked. 20 temporal generators, 30 gravity well systems, 50 nanoswarm deployment units. And that does not count the defensive networks we have installed around Earth and the colonies. Blake walked slowly through the chamber, looking at each machine. "What are the defensive networks?" Lisa led him to a control station where screens showed diagrams of human space. "Each of our systems has a network of satellites and platforms in orbit. They are invisible to alien sensors just like the stealth ships. These platforms can project overlapping fields that make our worlds nearly impossible to attack. Energy shields, gravity manipulation, spatial distortion. An enemy fleet trying to reach Earth would have to fight through defenses that bend the laws of physics." Blake was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked the question Lisa had been dreading. "Why did we build all this? The stealth fleet was already more powerful than anything in the galaxy. Why did we need weapons that stop time and crush matter?" Lisa met his eyes. "Because we knew the stealth fleet would not be enough forever. Once the galaxy saw what we could do, they would start developing countermeasures. They would share technology. They would cooperate in ways they never had before. We built these systems so that even if they caught up to our first generation of weapons, we would still be ahead." "And how far ahead are we?" Lisa hesitated. "Far enough that I sometimes wake up at night wondering if we went too far. These weapons were not designed to fight fair battles, Admiral. They were designed to make resistance impossible." Before Blake could respond, an alarm sounded throughout the facility. Red lights began flashing. A voice came over the speakers. "All personnel, this is an emergency alert. Intelligence has detected a hostile fleet approaching New Terra. Enemy numbers estimated at 2,000 ships." "This is not a drill." Blake and Lisa looked at each other. 2,000 ships. The previous attack had been 300. The galaxy was not just responding, it was escalating. Blake pulled out his communication device. "This is Admiral Blake. I need a full tactical briefing in 5 minutes. Alert all defense platforms. Activate the orbital networks. And get me Captain Torres." Aboard the Nightfall, Torres received the alert while his ship was on patrol. 2,000 enemy ships. The Sovereign Alliance, as they were calling themselves now, had gathered forces from 6 different species. They were united by one goal: show humanity that numbers still mattered. Alex Chen pulled up the enemy fleet composition on the tactical display. "Sir, this is everything they have. Every major warship from 6 species. If they lose this fleet, they will have almost nothing left. Torres nodded grimly. They are betting everything on overwhelming us with numbers. They think if they bring enough ships, our advanced weapons will not matter. Will it work? Torres thought about the 50 stealth ships in the fleet. Even with their advanced weapons, fighting 2,000 ships would be difficult. But then he remembered what Dr. Morrison had told him during his last briefing. Earth had more than just the stealth fleet now. No, Torres said quietly. It will not work. But they are about to learn something terrible. The Sovereign Alliance fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed at the edge of the new Terra system. They came in waves, ship after ship appearing in space. The commanders were confident. They had learned from their earlier defeat. This time they came prepared. Their ships had been upgraded with new sensors designed to detect stealth fields. They carried weapons meant to counter the human displacement cannons. They had developed tactics for fighting a smaller, more advanced force. They were ready, or so they thought. The first sign that something was wrong came when their faster-than-light drives refused to reactivate. The human inhibitor field was already in place, covering the entire system. They were trapped. The second sign came when their new sensors failed to detect any stealth ships. The human fleet remained invisible despite all their technological advances. The third sign was the appearance of something new. Not ships, but platforms. Hundreds of them, hanging in space around New Terra like a metal net. The platforms had been invisible too, hiding in the same quantum state as the stealth ships. Admiral Blake's voice came over every communication channel in the system. His tone was calm but held an edge of cold finality. Commanders of the Sovereign Alliance, this is Admiral Marcus Blake of Earth. You have entered human territory with hostile intent. You came with 2,000 ships, believing your numbers would overwhelm our defenses. You are wrong. What you are seeing around you are our orbital defense platforms. We have activated only a fraction of their capabilities. I am giving you one chance to surrender. Power down your weapons and engines. You have 60 seconds to comply. The Alliance commanders held an emergency conference. Some argued for immediate attack. Others urged caution. They had 60 seconds to decide the fate of 2,000 ships and all the people aboard them. They chose to attack. 2,000 ships opened fire at once. Energy beams, missiles, and kinetic weapons filled the space between them and the defensive platforms. It was the largest coordinated attack ever launched in galactic history. The defensive platforms responded. Space around New Terra began to behave strangely. Sections of the enemy fleet simply stopped moving, frozen in time by stasis fields. Other sections began to compress as gravity wells activated, crushing dozens of ships into dense balls of metal. Nanoswarms spread through the fleet like invisible clouds, and ships began falling apart as their hulls were disassembled molecule by molecule. The battle lasted 40 minutes. When it was over, the Sovereign Alliance had lost everything. 800 ships were frozen in stasis fields. 300 had been crushed by gravity. 400 were being slowly taken apart by nanoswarms. The remaining 500 ships had been disabled by the stealth fleet, which had waited invisible throughout the battle, only revealing itself to deliver precise strikes. Not a single human ship had taken damage. Not one defensive platform had been destroyed. The Alliance had thrown everything they had at Earth's defenses and achieved nothing. Torres stood on his bridge watching the frozen enemy ships drift in space. Around him, his crew was silent. They had witnessed something unprecedented. A battle where one side had such overwhelming technological advantage that the other never had a chance. Alex Chen spoke quietly. Sir, we are receiving surrender signals from all surviving ships. Torres nodded. Accept their surrenders. Deactivate the stasis fields, but keep the gravity wells ready in case anyone tries something stupid. Send medical ships to help with wounded. And transmit full battle data to Admiral Blake. On Earth, in a conference room deep inside military command, Blake watched the battle data with a mix of satisfaction and concern. The weapons had worked perfectly. Earth's defenses had proven themselves against a force that outnumbered them 40-1. But he understood what this meant. The galaxy would be terrified now. Earth had not just defeated an enemy. The Citadel hung in space beyond Neptune, invisible to every sensor in the galaxy. It was enormous, larger than Earth's moon. But it existed in a state of quantum uncertainty that made it impossible to detect. Admiral Blake had seen many classified projects during his career, but nothing compared to this. He stood in the central control chamber, a spherical room at the heart of the structure. Holographic displays surrounded him, showing data streams from across human space. Dr. Morrison stood beside him, her face tight with worry. "Explain it to me again," Blake said, "in simple terms. What exactly can this system do?" Lisa gestured at the displays. "The Citadel is not just a weapon. It is a reality manipulation network. We can affect space-time across interstellar distances. We can make matter cease to exist. We can undo actions by reversing local causality. We can shut down any technology that is not specifically shielded against our systems." Blake absorbed this slowly. "You are saying we can erase ships from existence? Just make them disappear?" "Yes, we tested it on asteroids. One moment they exist. The next moment they never existed. Space itself forgets they were ever there. And the causality reversal? Imagine an enemy fires a weapon. We can reverse time in that specific location, making it so the weapon was never fired. The enemy crew would remember giving the order, but the action itself would be undone." Lisa paused. "It is disturbing to watch. Reality corrects itself. But the people involved experience both the original event and its reversal. It drives some of them insane." Blake was quiet for a long moment. "This is too much power for anyone to have, I know. That is why we hoped never to use it. But the sovereign remnants are nearly finished with their system killer weapon. Intelligence confirms they plan to use it on Earth. Can our defenses stop it?" Lisa shook her head. "The system killer uses a chain reaction that turns a star into a supernova. Once activated, nothing can stop it. Our only option is to prevent them from firing it in the first place, or to destroy them so completely they never try again." "Yes." Lisa looked at Blake. "That is what the Citadel was designed for. Ultimate deterrence. A weapon so terrifying that no one would dare attack us." An alarm interrupted them. A technician called out from one of the control stations. "Admiral, we have detection. The enemy weapon is powering up. They are targeting our sun." Blake felt ice in his veins. "How long until they fire?" 30 minutes, sir." Blake turned to Lisa. "Can we stop them?" "Only with the Citadel. It is the only system with the range and power to reach their location." Blake pulled out his communication device and contacted Earth. The president appeared on the screen, looking old and tired. "Mr. President, we have confirmed hostile action. The enemy is preparing to destroy our sun. We have 30 minutes to respond. I need authorization to activate the Citadel." The president closed his eyes. "How many people are at their facility?" "Approximately 10,000 according to intelligence, and on Earth? 11 billion, sir." The president opened his eyes. They were wet with tears. "Do what you have to do, Admiral. Authorization code Alpha 77 Omega. Protect our people." Blake entered the code. Throughout the Citadel, systems that had been dormant for decades began to activate. The structure began to hum with power drawn from the quantum vacuum itself. Lisa moved to the main control panel. She began entering commands with steady hands, though her face showed the strain. "Target locked. The enemy facility is in the Carvex system, 300 light-years away. Preparing dimensional shear." Blake watched the displays. "Show me." A hologram appeared showing the enemy facility. It was massive, built into an asteroid. Thousands of beings worked there, completely unaware that they had only minutes to live. Blake felt sick, but he did not hesitate. "Fire." Lisa pressed the final control. 300 light-years away, space itself tore open. The enemy facility simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed. Not exploded. It just stopped being real. The asteroid it had been built into was still there. But now it was solid rock with no tunnel. No chambers, no weapon. It was as if the facility had never been built. 10,000 lives ended in an instant. They felt nothing. One moment they existed. The next moment they did not. The universe simply forgot they had been there. Blake stood very still. "It is done? Yes, the weapon is gone. Earth is safe." Lisa looked at her hands. They were shaking. "We just erased 10,000 people from existence. Made it so they never were." Blake put a hand on her shoulder. "They were trying to kill 11 billion. We did what we had to do, I know. That does not make it easier." Blake turned back to the communications panel. "Now we show the galaxy. Send the data, all of it. Every species needs to understand what just happened." Within minutes, every government in the galaxy received the transmission. It showed the enemy facility. It showed the weapon they had built. And it showed what Earth did to stop them. the facility simply vanishing from existence. No explosion, no debris. Just empty space where something had been. The transmission included one more thing. A message from Admiral Blake to the entire galaxy. People of the galaxy, this is Admiral Marcus Blake of Earth. You have just witnessed our ultimate defense system. The Sovereign Alliance attempted to destroy our sun and kill everyone in our home system. We stopped them with technology that can erase matter from existence across interstellar distances. This facility can target any location within 500 light-years. It can affect entire fleets. It can shut down any military technology not specifically protected. And it is completely unstoppable by any means known to galactic science. Blake paused in the recording before continuing. We did not want to use this weapon. We hoped never to reveal it. But you gave us no choice. Understand this clearly. Earth will not tolerate threats to our people. We will not accept aggression. And we will not hesitate to defend ourselves with whatever force is necessary. The era of testing humanity is over. From this moment forward, any attack on human territory will be met with immediate and total response. We are offering peace. But if you choose war, you will face power you cannot imagine. The message ended. Across the galaxy, leaders watched in stunned silence. Earth had weapons that could erase matter from existence. Weapons that worked across impossible distances. Weapons that could not be stopped or defended against. Some species immediately sent messages of peace and friendship to Earth. Others began evacuating their military bases near human territory. A few, the proud ones, talked about defiance and resistance. But even they were afraid. How could anyone fight an enemy that could simply make them stop existing? In the Galactic Council chambers, an emergency session was called. Ambassador Claire Holland stood before them once again. But this time no one spoke down to her. No one treated her like a representative of a minor power. They looked at her with fear, respect, and in some cases hatred. The council leader spoke. His voice was hollow. Ambassador Holland, the council wishes to know. How many of these ultimate weapons does Earth possess? Claire met his gaze calmly. That information is classified. What you need to know is that Earth is fully prepared to defend itself against any threat. We have shown you 3 levels of our military technology. The stealth fleet, the advanced weapon systems, and now the Citadel. If you force us to reveal a 4th level, the galaxy will not survive it. There is a 4th level? Someone asked in horror. Claire allowed herself a small smile. That information is also classified. I suggest you not try to find out. The chamber was silent. Claire let the moment stretch before speaking again. Honored council members, humanity did not seek this position. We did not want to become the most powerful military force in the galaxy. We simply wanted to survive in a universe we did not fully understand. For 50 years, we accepted your restrictions and limitations. We appeared weak while we learned and grew stronger. Now the truth is known. Earth has weapons beyond your comprehension. But we do not seek conquest. We seek partnership. Claire walked closer to the center of the chamber. Here is what Earth proposes. We will share some of our defensive technology with species who wish to join a true alliance. Not the Galactic Council as it exists now, which is really just a way for powerful species to control weaker ones. A real alliance where all members are protected and respected. In return, we ask only for peace and fair trade. We will not demand tribute. We will not conquer your worlds. We simply want to coexist as equals. And if we refuse? The Crithian ambassador asked quietly. Then you may continue as you are. Earth will not force anyone to join us, but understand that we will no longer accept restrictions on our expansion or limitations on our military. We will protect our interests. And if anyone threatens those interests, we will respond as we did today. The council began to debate among themselves. Claire could see the calculations happening behind their eyes. Join Earth and receive protection plus access to some advanced technology. Or remain independent but accept that humanity was now the dominant military power in the region. It was not really a choice. Within hours, species began requesting membership in Earth's proposed alliance, not because they loved humanity, but because they were terrified of being outside its protection. Back on the Citadel, Blake and Lisa watched the political situation unfold. We did it, Blake said quietly. We made them too afraid to attack us, yes. Lisa did not sound happy. We created peace through fear. Is that? 6 months after the Citadel demonstration, Ambassador Claire Holland stood in a very different council chamber. This one was on Earth in Geneva, where humanity had built a new center for galactic cooperation. The room was smaller than the old Galactic Council chambers, but somehow felt more important. Representatives from 20 species sat around a circular table. No one sat higher than anyone else. There were no tiers of seats to show who was more powerful. Everyone was equal here, at least in theory. Claire was about to call the meeting to order when an aide rushed in and whispered in her ear. Her expression changed from calm to shocked. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, "we have visitors. The Archons have requested permission to enter Earth's solar system." The room exploded with shocked voices. The Archons were legends, stories told to young beings across the galaxy, an ancient species that supposedly predated the Galactic Council by thousands of years. Most people thought they were myths, but now they were asking to visit Earth. Admiral Blake was contacted immediately. He stood in his office reading the message for the third time. The Archons wanted to meet. They had a message for humanity, and they were requesting an audience with Earth's leadership within 24 hours. Blake called an emergency meeting with the President, Dr. Morrison, Captain Torres, and Ambassador Holland. They gathered in a secure conference room beneath military command. "What do we know about the Archons?" the President asked. "Very little," Blake admitted. "They appear in galactic history about once every 1,000 years. They observe, sometimes offer guidance, then disappear again. Some species worship them as gods. Others think they are simply an advanced civilization that prefers isolation. Why would they contact us now?" Torres asked. "That," Blake said, "is what worries me. They appear only during moments of major galactic change, and we just demonstrated weapons that can erase matter from existence." "You think they see us as a threat?" Lisa said. It was not a question. "I think they see us as something important. Whether that is good or bad, we are about to find out." The Archon ship arrived exactly when they said it would. It was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Not metal and machinery, but something that seemed alive. It glowed with a soft light that hurt to look at directly. Sensors could not determine what it was made of or how it moved. The ship did not land. Instead, a single Archon appeared in the conference room, simply materializing in an empty chair. No transport beam. No door opening. One moment the chair was empty. The next moment it was not. The Archon looked humanoid but subtly wrong in ways that were hard to define. Its proportions were slightly off. Its eyes held too much depth. When it spoke, the words seemed to come from inside everyone's head rather than from its mouth. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am called Keeper by those who remember us. I come with information you need to understand your place in the galaxy." The President recovered first. "Welcome, Keeper. We are honored by your presence. You said you have information for us?" "Yes," the Archon's gaze swept across everyone in the room. "You believe you developed your advanced technology through your own efforts. This is both true and false. We have been guiding you since your species first looked at the stars." Blake leaned forward. "Guiding us how?" "Small nudges. A mathematical insight here. A technological breakthrough there. We planted seeds in your collective unconscious. Ideas that would grow when your civilization was ready for them. The quantum stealth technology, the displacement weapons, even the Citadel. All of these came from fragments of knowledge we left for you to discover." Lisa felt her world shifting. Everything she had created, all her breakthroughs, they were not really hers. "But why? Why would you do that?" "Because the galaxy needs a guardian," the Archon said simply. "And we are dying." The room fell silent. The Archon continued. "For 1,000,000 years, my people have protected this region of space from threats you cannot imagine. Entities from dark space between galaxies. Forces that would consume all life if left unchecked. We have held them back, but our numbers grow fewer with each battle. Soon we will be too weak to continue. We needed a successor, a species with the right combination of intelligence, adaptability, and determination. We tested hundreds of civilizations. Only humanity showed the necessary traits." Torres spoke up. "You have been testing us. For how long?" "Since your species emerged. Every challenge you faced as a civilization was partly our design. We needed to see if you could survive, if you could grow strong without becoming monsters. When you joined the Galactic Council, we watched to see how you would handle being weak in a universe of stronger powers. Would you become bitter and vengeful, or would you be patient and strategic? And our decision to hide our strength?" Claire asked. "That was entirely yours. And it showed us you were ready. You understood that true strength is not always displayed. You could accept temporary weakness for long-term advantage. These are the qualities a guardian species needs. The president stood. You are asking us to take your place, to protect the galaxy from these threats you mention. Not asking, informing. The choice has already been made by the universe itself. Your technological breakthroughs were not random. They were preparations. The weapons you built are exactly what you will need for what comes next. And what comes next? Blake demanded. The Archon gestured and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed the galaxy, but with dark spots spreading from the outer edges like a disease. These are the Void Hunters. Entities that exist in the space between galaxies. They feed on energy and matter. They have been trying to enter this galaxy for millions of years. My people have kept them out, but we are failing. In approximately 10 of your years, they will break through our defenses. When they do, they will consume everything in their path. Lisa stared at the hologram.
How do we fight something like that?
With the weapons you have built, the Citadel is not just for destroying enemy ships. It is for erasing Void Hunters from existence. Your temporal technology can trap them in frozen time. Your gravity weapons can collapse their physical forms. You have everything you need. You simply did not know what you were preparing for. The room was silent as everyone absorbed this information. Finally, the president spoke. Why not just tell us all this from the beginning? Why the secrecy? Because species that know they are being prepared often fail. They become arrogant or afraid. You needed to develop naturally, to build your strength through your own choices and struggles. Only then would you be truly ready. Torres leaned back in his chair. So the Galactic Council, the Sovereign Alliance, all of that conflict was part of your test? No, that was entirely real. We influenced nothing there. Your enemies acted from their own fear and ambition. But how you responded to those challenges, that showed us you were ready. Claire stood and walked to the hologram. So what happens now? You leave and we take over? We will remain for the transition period. We will share our knowledge of the Void Hunters. We will help you establish the defense networks you will need. But in 10 years, the responsibility will be entirely yours. The galaxy will depend on humanity for its survival. That is a heavy burden, Blake said quietly. Yes. But you have already shown you can bear it. You revealed your weapons when necessary, but showed restraint in their use. You offered partnership instead of domination. These choices prove you understand the responsibility that comes with power. The Archon stood. I will return in 1 week. Use that time to prepare your people. The truth will spread across the galaxy soon. Other species will need to know why humanity has been given such power. They will need to understand that you are not conquerors but protectors. The Archon began to fade. Before it vanished completely, it spoke one last time. You were afraid you had too much power, that it would corrupt you. But power is neither good nor evil. It is the choices made by those who hold power that matter. We have watched you make those choices, and we believe you will choose wisely. The galaxy is in good hands. Then it was gone, leaving the human leaders alone with knowledge that would change everything. 2 months later, Captain Torres stood on the bridge of a new ship. The horizon was larger than the Nightfall, designed specifically for long-range defense missions. Around it, human and alien vessels trained together, learning to coordinate their systems for the battles to come. Alex Chen worked beside Torres, now promoted to commander. They watched as crews from 20 different species learned to work as one unit. It is strange, Alex said. A few months ago, they were our enemies. Now we are training them to fight alongside us. Torres nodded. That is what Guardians do. We protect everyone, even former enemies. The Archons were right. We were being prepared for something larger than galactic politics. An alert sounded. Sensors detected something at the edge of the system. Torres brought up the display and felt his blood run cold. A dark shape, barely visible, testing the outer defenses. A Void Hunter. Early scout, probably. Torres activated the fleet-wide communication. All ships, this is Captain Torres. We have contact with a Void entity. This is not a drill. Prepare all weapon systems. Let us show them why the Archons chose humanity. On Earth, Admiral Blake watched the same sensor data. Beside him, Dr. Morrison monitored the Citadel systems. Ambassador Holland coordinated with alien governments. They were ready as they could be.